All right. We now welcome on a very special guest. It is the second episode of Grit Week, and we are sitting in maybe the grittiest office in America. It is Coach Bruce Arians, surrounded by 40-plus years of football. Thank you for having us, Coach. Let's start with grit. How do you define grit?
Well, I think it's something every quarterback has to have, especially, and it's the two muscles that are the hardest ones to evaluate, your brain and your heart. If you got those two things that work for you, you can do damn near any sport, but play quarterback for sure.
Mm-hmm. So your career, I think, when we were trying to put together Grit Week, we were like, well, Bruce Arians is a no-brainer because your career kind of personifies grit in the path you led to become a head football coach in the NFL. So it started, at what point when you were growing up did you fall in love with football or realize that you wanted to be in football?
I knew I wanted to coach. I played every sport when I was growing up, but everybody I looked up to in life was named Coach. I didn't realize half of them were somebody's dad that just given up his time.
Yeah. Right.
But he was coach, and he was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew I wanted to be a coach. And as I turned towards football and wasn't good enough to go on, I knew I wanted to coach. And got a great opportunity at Virginia Tech with Jimmy Sharp right after my senior year and started coaching.
You kind of undersold yourself a little bit there because you're actually, or until recently, you were the number one dual threat quarterback in the history of Virginia Tech. So you were better than Mike Vick.
I still have the record for the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a single year. And Logan Thomas I think he got close to time the career, but single season, even Mike couldn't get me.
The original dual threat quarterback. I want to back up real quick because Big Cat jumped right in, but I want to make sure that we didn't park in your spot because I know that that's a sensitive subject to you. I saw All or Nothing.
Yes.
So we didn't park in your spot outside, did we?
You guys were great.
Okay.
We got all that covered. Yeah.
Ooh,
all right.
That would have been a big time mistake.
You don't get cut
us.
tonight.
All right.
Yeah.
I love it. So we were talking about a little bit about your book, The Quarterback Whisperer. You can buy it right now. Go to Amazon. Buy it.
Yes.
I actually read it. So that's the last book that I read. I read it last summer on the beach. It was nice. You told a little anecdote that got a little press at the time about drinking paint when you were a kid because you thought it made you hard to tackle. Can you walk me through?
Well, I was allergic to milk, and my brother would get these big glasses of milk, my older brother, and Dad would say, hey, drink that milk, make you big and strong. I was like, what I got to do? All right, because they didn't give me any. So they're painting the kitchen, and this big can of white milk, and white paint. It looked just like milk. I said, turn it up, get my stomach pumped. It wasn't. Probably 3 months later, my mom was eating pistachio ice cream, and that green paint looked really good. So I did it again. Brains? No. That lead paint might have got me back then.
Yeah.
I think.
What did your parents say when they're like, this kid, we got a kid, and he just won't stop drinking paint?
Give him some damn milk, man. I mean, find something that looks like milk. We didn't have almond milk and all that stuff back in the day,
Did you think at any point that drinking paint would make you a better football player? Is that part of the reason you did it?
No, I just thought it'd make you big and strong.
Yeah.
I was 2 or 3 years old. I just know my brother was getting it, and I wanted it.
That's what Jim Harbaugh said, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Jim Harbaugh believes it made him grow up to be 6'3".
Yeah.
Just because he drank it off milk. And then after you did that, you tried to jump off the roof of your house because you believed in yourself enough that you could fly. Is that the story?
Yeah.
How'd that work
Superman was like, we had black and white TV back in the day, and Superman was big. And he was like my hero. So I got my red cape. I got a red towel out of the closet, tied it on, got out on the roof, jumped off, splat. And my dad was working in the garage across Highway 11 in West Virginia, which is a dangerous highway. And one of his said, Bert, I think your kid's jumping off the roof. And he took off across the highway running. And I mean, I didn't no longer hit the ground, and he's there. You okay? Yeah, I can't fly.
How old are you?
5.
Jeez, the paint drinking, roof jumping kid.
Yeah.
So at what point did you stop being a problem for your parents?
Never. Yeah, it was that lasted it's probably still a problem.
See, if you were growing up today, you would have been on Ritalin.
Yeah.
Or one of those drugs.
I'd have had every letter in the alphabet.
Yes.
Every letter in the alphabet.
Then we wouldn't know Coach Arians today probably.
Yeah. Instead, they just had to sit you down and be like, "Hey, please stop drinking paint."
The worst punishment you could give me, you could beat me. That was not a problem. Make me put my nose against the wall and stand there. The nuns would do that to me after they beat my knuckles with the ruler. That was like, okay, hit me again. Put your nose against that wall. And you would go nuts, standing still.
Solitary confinement.
It was awful. It's the worst.
Yeah. How did you get the nickname Esquire Smooth?
That was from, we all lived in our parks back in the day. And Eddie Berry, who was like the king of our park, he was just the coolest dude. He was a high school football player. And he named me Esquire Smooth in the park, and that was like the ultimate moniker you could have at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So how long did you go by Esquire Smooth? I feel like you have a little Esquire Smooth still to this day.
Yeah, it lives with you.
Yeah.
You know, it was only maybe a couple of years. Eddie went off to the war in Vietnam, and that was probably it.
Yeah.
You know?
But you dress, you always had that swag when you dressed, for the plane
you
trips.
learn that from older guys. Denny Stock, who was the quarterback of the high school team, and Eddie Berry. They kind of ran our park, and they were cool. And you did everything you could to be cool like them when you were young.
Yeah, I believe it.
And then I heard you ran into some trouble when you were a high schooler. Is that when you got in trouble the first time?
Which time?
Well, he just said he jumped off a roof.
That's true. That's a good point. I heard that you were asked to not come back to school at one point in high school.
Yeah, I was expelled, and it was a Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
My wife had gotten pregnant between our junior and senior years, and we lost a child, and went back to school, and we went off on this reunion, not a reunion, but gosh, what are they called?
Like a class retreat.
Yeah, it was a retreat. It was a retreat between football season and basketball season, and a bunch of guys got drunk, and 29 guys got suspended, and I got kicked out.
They were looking for you.
They pinned it on you.
Yeah,
they said Esquire Smooth. He sounds like a lawyer.
Yeah,
we're going to try to get him out of here.
They got me, and it was probably one of the greatest things that happened to me because it kicked me right in the face, and it gave me something to prove to people the rest of my life, and I'm still doing it today.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's grit right there. So you, your coaching career starts. You start at Virginia Tech, then you end up with the legend Bear Bryant. You were just there for his last season, correct?
Last two seasons.
How intimidating was it walking into his office and being in the shadow of a guy like that?
It was amazing because when I went in for the interview, the guy said, "Hey, you may be 10 minutes, 10 with coach," and I was there like an hour and a half, and we just hit it off. And it's funny because I had this big mustache, all right, and at Alabama at that time, it was had the Yankees. No one had facial hair.
Mm-hmm. I would have fit in real well.
And so I'm lucky. I get the job, and I'm probably there 4 or 5 days. And the guy's like, "Man, is coach going to change?" And all of a sudden, he came down the hall, and "We don't have facial hair, son. You mind shaving?" I said, "I'll get it tonight, coach. You bet." Mm-hmm. I shave it off. My kids were still in Starkville. So they drive over. My son's like 3. And I'm sitting on the steps. He goes right past me. I said, "Where you going?" "You're not my daddy." "Yeah, I am." That big mustache was gone.
Yeah, he didn't recognize.
Crushed me. Oh, it crushed me.
Yeah.
One of the things that I remember from reading the book was how when you started coaching with Coach Bryant, you actually went to him because you had a misunderstanding. I guess he thought that you were going to be a part-time guy. You thought you were going to be full-time, and you went to him and you said, "I'm not going to do this part-time job. You either give me a full-time job or I'm out." My question for you is, where did you get the balls to say that to Coach Bryant? And that was.
I mean, that's kind of who you are. And I was hired full-time. That was the thing. I was hired full-time. They had a new change in the NCAA about recruiting, and they decided to make me the part-time guy because I was the newest guy on the staff. And it's like, man, ain't what I just took. if that was a job, I'd still be at Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
And so I basically quit. Walked out, and thank God my wife was not home. So I'm sitting at home, and I'm like, oh, shit, what'd you just do? So I called Jimmy Sharp, who was my head coach, it was really Coach Bryant's confidant.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him what happened. He said, good for you. Next thing I know, I get a call from Coach Sharp. He said, go back up to the office. Coach Bryant's going to see you in about 10 minutes. Well, I didn't know I'd got him off the golf course.
Oh.
So he was pissed.
That's
yeah.
It was bad. So he came in. He kind of gave me the hook. Come on. And we go down, and he said, well, now, what is all this about? Who the hell likes recruiting? I said, that's part of my job. I mean, that's why you hired me. I'm a good recruiter, but I'm a full-time coach. If this part-time job you would have offered me, I'd still be at Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. And if you ain't know anything about Coach Bryant, he had this sofa that when you sat in it, you were sitting on the floor. And Coach was a big man, mm-hmm. and he had a big desk. So he stood up over that desk, and I'm like, oh, shit. And it's like, boy, I don't talk about it out of both sides of my mouth. You get your ass in that car and you start recruiting. You're full-time.
That's it.
Thank you. And I headed out that day, and I didn't come back for about 3 weeks.
Love it.
I mean, that's a great story because it is, like you said, you are who you are. Standing up to, a lot of people probably would have just taken the part-time job and shut their mouth.
Yeah.
And you were like, nope, I'm gonna stand up for myself.
That's not the job I took, and that rapport that I trusted him, because in that interview we had gone through a lot of things talking about, and I knew we hit it off that I could talk honestly back to him, mm-hmm. which a lot of people I don't think really thought they could. Right. And we had battles. He loved testing me, and see if I'd ever give in.
What was he like? Because he's at the end of his career. You're at the start of yours. Was he open to new ideas, whether it be game planning or anything?
Most innovative coach ever.
Really?
And even, we played 66 guys a game. He substituted every player, offense, defense, special team. No assistant coach had the power to put anybody in a game. He substituted. And we played 3 quarterbacks in every game.
Wow.
12 running backs. And he just rolled them when he felt right, and knew when to put the guys that he trusted in a game or the guys that he wanted to see develop in a game. He was a master of personnel.
Mm-hmm. Could you imagine like a coach doing that today where they're rolling 3 quarterbacks? I mean, the uproar it would cause in the media would be insane.
Yeah, and no one ever questioned him.
Right.
But now
he's earned.
Yeah, becomes godlike.
Yeah. So around this time, you started jumping around a little bit. Like you said, you were at Mississippi State, and then over to Alabama, then up to Temple. I've always been curious, like the life of a head coach's wife or a football coach's wife. Did she know what she was getting into when you were like, hey, I want to get into coaching football?
Yeah, and we got married at 18, and so she kind of had an idea. She said, look, I'm going to go with it, but there's going to come a time when I'm going to tell you it's football or me. That was last year.
Yeah. That was it.
And I said, I'm done.
She was patient.
She waited a long time.
Yeah.
4 years. Yeah.
That's a hell of a woman to wait that long.
Uh-huh. And move 17 times.
Yeah, jeez. So you go when you enter into the NFL and you get a guy like Peyton Manning as a rookie. Did you know right away? I mean, you obviously watched him. I actually read a story how you called up Archie and asked him if you could recruit him for Mississippi State, and Archie was like, "Come on, are you serious?
You're right.
Like, get out of here, Bruce." But you get a coach you get a player like Peyton Manning. Do you know right away that this guy's going to be off the charts special talent?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, it was the person more than the talent, because Ryan Leaf was a hell of a talent, and the only thing that came down to that decision was the 2 people, and Peyton was safer,
mm-hmm.
and Peyton had a will about him that he would never fail, and from the first practice to the last, he was that way. And I never forget it. He said, meet me at the hotel at 9 o'clock tonight. This is our first mini camp.
I
left at 3 in the morning so that he knew the script. He could call every play without looking at anything.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
He jumped, and the veterans didn't even know the plays.
Yeah.
This is the first mini camp. He jumps in, he goes, dice right, scat right, 92X. And the guys go, How the hell do you know this?
You just did the Bruce Arians chipmunk face.
And he did it.
That was great. You just
And
did the famous one, the famous face.
And boom, the guy's had it, man. It was amazing.
Even though he couldn't use a can opener.
No, and get dressed.
So tell that. You go over to his house and you're like,
yeah, it was famous about Ashley and his mom Olivia would put pictures of what went together. All right? Without this goes with this, wear this shirt with these pants, and that's how my man got dressed.
oh my God,
That's
and
great.
that's young Peyton Manning.
That's him, because he was just football. I mean, he was wired football.
The fact that he couldn't use a can opener when he was 22 in the NFL.
That's a lot of problems for most of us.
Yeah, I guess a can opener, you got to be taught how to use it, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially the old ones.
Yeah, true.
Did you actually go incognito to ask around about Ryan Leaf when you were kind of checking both quarterbacks out?
Yeah, I sure did. I went up to Washington State, wore no Colts gear, acted like I was just an alumni visiting, asking what was going on, and trying to find out from people about the guy, because the talent was unbelievable. I wanted to find out about the guy, and it was a very interesting visit.
So a guy like Peyton Manning, I'm curious because this kind of came up in the news this year with a kid like Josh Rosen and the story that he might be too smart for coaching. Was there ever that feeling that Peyton is ahead of the coaching and you have to deal with someone who might not listen because he thinks he's always right?
No, because the way he was brought up. But when Peyton came into the combine and Bill Polian asked the first question, Peyton had a yellow pad just like you, and he took over the interview. He asked all the questions till the horn blew. The coaches asked no more questions. And when he walked out, and they like, who just got interviewed, us or him?
Just
took it over.
But nowadays, right, that happens.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that now gets leaked, and then on Twitter, people are saying so-and-so quarterback doesn't listen to authority and took over the interview.
Yeah, man, but you would hope so.
Right.
You would hope one of those guys will come in and grill you. Mm-hmm. And that's actually, to me, that's what I'm looking for.
Right.
And I missed this year's because we had so many quality quarterbacks in the draft. I really missed this year's combine.
Yeah. Combine's a good time.
Well, with the group of quarterbacks that came out this year, what's one guy that you would want to coach?
Well, there was like 6 I liked, and I didn't get a chance to go really like them in that meeting where you go one-on-ones and you get to know them and their family a little bit. And but the guy that really intrigued me was Lamar Jackson. I saw where the league's heading. I knew Sam Darnold. I think he's a can't miss. I love Baker's grit and his fiery attitude. I thought Josh Rosen was probably the most ready to play, and Josh Allen probably had the biggest talent. But Lamar was just one of those guys like, wow, him and David Johnson in the same backfield and put some speed outside, and how much fun would that be coaching?
I remember when the Cardinals traded up, everybody thought they were going to take him. Were you watching the draft this year?
Yeah, I was.
Were you thinking that he was going to go to Arizona?
No, I thought it was going to be Josh Rosen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
you probably had a little bit more insight.
I think had they stayed at 15, they'd have taken Lamar.
Yeah. So you just mentioned that the way the league's going. What did you mean by that? Like how do you see quarterback play evolving?
The college game is starting to get in because that's the players you're dealing with. You're dealing with guys that have never been in huddles, linemen who have never been in three-point stances. So you have to adjust your coaching style to allow these guys to play. If you're gonna draft them high, you got to adjust to them. Mm-hmm. They can't adjust to you, or they're just going to take 2 or 3 years. You'll get fired, and somebody else will be coaching them. Mm-hmm. And so you got to adjust the way they play now. And with Lamar, Bobby Petrino runs a pro offense, so he's been in a pro offense. Now he was also electric in the spread with his legs, but he can throw it and he can read coverage. And when you put Larry Fitzgerald and some of the guys they had, J.J. Nelson and David Johnson in the backfield, I said, well, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of speed.
So after the Colts, after you were teamed up with Payne for a while, you went to the Browns, and I actually think you're a witch because you got the Browns to the playoffs.
Yeah, last time.
How'd you do that?
Tim Couch. Tim Couch.
That's not a real answer.
Kelly Holcomb's a real answer.
No, because Kelly didn't win. Kelly was the backup. Timmy took us to the playoffs and broke his leg in the second quarter of the last game, and Timmy was just broken up. Timmy was a hell of a player. Then Kelly lights it up, which I knew he would. That's just the player he was. He was in our offense for all those years in Indianapolis, and then he got in Cleveland, and the Steelers played the perfect defense for him. He could light them up, and he throws for 400 or something in that play. We should have won that playoff game. And then Tim's arm is all broken up, and then there's all of a sudden a quarterback controversy. And but yeah, that was a good football team, that Browns team.
Yeah, you mentioned they should have won the playoff game. I agree with you. And I know that you were pissed off about that because they played some candy-ass defense in the second half. The Browns did. And that goes against everything that the Bruce Arians that I've read about stands for, which is like you just go balls to the wall.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
We played prevent defense and let Tommy Maddox pick us apart.
Yeah.
Tommy Maddox, that's tough.
And you got to pressure Tommy. If you let Tommy sit back there, he'll pick you apart. Because if he had no pressure, he could throw as good as anybody. And we just played. We rushed 3 and played drop 8, and we blew a 17-point lead.
Yeah, no risk it, no biscuit.
I love it. Did you ever get speaking of that? Do you ever get anxiety when you were coaching if it had been a few plays since you had gone deep? Like, did you get that itch?
Yeah. There were times like, no, hope, fight it off. It's not time yet.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Because
but every pass that we had in our offense, there was a deep in it.
Right.
It's just match the right coverage and take your shot. Quarterbacks had carte blanche to take the deep shot anytime.
What was the success though for how many deep shots would you want to see your team have in a given game?
At least 8.
Yeah,
I mean,
I love it.
If I'd call 6, we had 6 on the game plan called home runs. I'd call all those.
Howard just waste them all early.
We could have a play that was designed for 5 or 6 yards, a ball control pass, but there's a deep threat in the right coverage, and Carson knew it. And Carson Palmer is probably the prettiest deep ball thrower I've ever seen.
Do you ever regret that you didn't coach Rex Grossman, who just loved to throw that fucking ball deep? You two together probably would have been a little bit too much.
No, Rex and I probably would never got along.
Yeah.
And
he's a little too smart for you.
No, he threw too many deep balls that weren't complete.
Yeah, that's true. He did. Yeah,
because one thing to throw them deep, but you got to complete them.
Yeah, right. That's fair. Okay, that's fair. So Pittsburgh, you get to Pittsburgh, you have another rookie guy come in, Big Ben. What were the differences between Big Ben and Peyton? Because Big Ben was kind of a sure thing, but he also had a couple of years there where it took a little learning curve for him to come around.
I was the receiver coach. When Ben came in, I was the receiver coach. Kenny Wisenhunt was the offensive coordinator. And Tommy Maddox gets his elbow blown out, I think, the second or third game. And it might have been earlier than that.
I think it was earlier because I think Big Ben broke the record.
15 in a row. 13 in a row. And but he had an ability. He knew spread offense. So, but we had a great running game. We had a great defense. Run the ball, play action. But just you went on third down, and Ben was good at when you spread the field. And early in his career, he could see it, and so he was very efficient. And we lost to the Patriots in the championship game.
What was he like coming in as a rookie?
Very Joe Namath, gunslinger, Big Ben.
It's a very diplomatic way to put it.
I mean, people would say that was a bad thing, but I think Joe Namath might have been one of the greatest of all time. But you can't beat Broadway Joe anymore in today's media and fans. You can't have a drink and a girl on your arm all the time. And like Joe said, it's un-American if you don't. So Ben had that Big Ben mystique already.
Because I noticed when he did get hurt, what it was like the first or second week, normally you see players like line up and they kind of like circle the wagons around their new quarterback. But there was like a little bit that got out in the media at that point where people were like, well, he's a fucking rookie, so don't expect too much from him. There was like that little bit of edge. Do you think that kind of fed Ben a little bit?
No doubt. No doubt. And he responded extremely well.
Ben is a guy who, stays in the pocket, gets big hits, has been injured a bunch. How many times do you see him have to throw on that walking boot after a game?
Oh, way too many.
Yeah.
But again, he wears the Superman cape.
Mm-hmm.
And you never want that guy to take that cape off
Mm-hmm.
and change the way he plays. And so, I mean, probably too many, but he never missed it next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he played on an ankle in Baltimore one night. You had no business playing in the game. So we put him in the shotgun, and before the entire game, running game, everything, the pistol. It wasn't called the pistol yet, and he beat Baltimore on one leg.
Yeah, I mean he is the consummate guy, like it feels like he's injured. They have that famous picture where it like has every piece of his body has been injured before, and he's still out there. Did you talk to him at all when he was not? I guess he was contemplating retiring last year, or it might have been last year or 2 years ago, where he was like, I might walk away. Did you talk to him at all? Because you guys are still very close.
Yeah, we played golf again a couple weeks ago, and I don't know. I think the injuries bothered him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because he's got kids and he wanted to play with his kids, and all of a sudden I couldn't pick one up, and that shocks everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the game of football, he's into it so much, and I think with Randy Fichtner as the quarterback coach now and coordinator, he'll play 5 years.
Yeah, he'll have a whole new life to him.
So he didn't get along with Todd Haley, I'm guessing.
You can read it, man.
Put nicely.
It's
yeah,
pretty, it's pretty easy to see.
We read
He's
it.
going to retire, now he's going to play 5 years.
Yeah,
exactly.
we read it. We read it.
Yeah.
So the end of your time in Pittsburgh, you obviously didn't go well. You got a little shocked by Mike Tomlin calling you up and saying you don't have a contract. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the pieces that's kind of lost in that history is that was right after the Steelers lost to Tebow. So in that playoff game, was it not? So how much do you blame Tim Tebow for you not getting your contract, even though you don't coach the defense?
Oh, not at all, because he had nothing to do with tackling the receiver on the play. I mean, we went into that game with one running back, and a rookie that had never played before.
Who's the running back? Willie Parker?
Isaac Redman. Everybody else was hurt.
Yeah.
So we deployed a 4 wide receiver and a 5 wide receiver set. Whenever Isaac got tired. All right, and that's not Steeler football,
right?
But that's all we had, and so it was a lot to do with that.
Do you still have bad feelings towards how that all went down?
No, not at all. I mean, if I don't get fired, I don't become a head coach.
True.
So I thank Mr. Rooney every day.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good way to think about it.
So you're on your way back to Georgia.
This is like Forrest Gump of football, by the way. Your life is every single great quarterback, every single facility, great coach, Bear Bryant, like all these Bill Cowher.
So you're driving back to Georgia and you get the call from Chuck, right? Is that your wife thought that you were retiring?
We were here. We were going back to get we had like a little bit of furniture left in our apartment, and we're driving back up, and the phone rings, and I go, damn. She goes, you're going to take that job. I said, hey, it's Chuck. He just got the job yesterday. He might be. I called to congratulate him. Mm-hmm. Cuz, how you doing, baby? What's this retirement shit? Well, depends what you're talking about. I want you to come be the coordinator. All right. Well, I'll probably get on a plane tomorrow. And she's over there shaking her head. And I knew you'd take that job. I said, well, you like Indianapolis. It's okay.
And you knew that you were probably going to get Andrew Luck at that point.
There was a really good chance. The problem was I had just talked to Peyton and was going to actually work out with Peyton to check how his arm was and give him a good barometer. And we end up releasing him, and that was hard. That was really hard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But so this is now your third big time rookie that you're around. So it was Peyton, Big Ben, now Andrew Luck. How was Andrew Luck different than the other two guys? Or how was he the same?
He was a combination of the two. I mean, he was as smart as Peyton and as tough as Ben. And what he did as a rookie was just amazing. Because we won, I don't know how many, 9 games, 11 games, and he won 6 or 7 in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Rookies don't do. But he's playing with rookies. Reggie Wayne's the only vet.
Right.
2 rookie tight ends, a rookie running back, and 2 rookie wide receivers, and a rookie lineman.
And a punk punter.
And,
Yeah.
Who shanked one every now and then when I needed him. But he won those games in the last 2 minutes that were just – that's unheard of.
Right.
No, and when no one's ever done it, and no one's going to probably ever do it again.
Mm-hmm. Did you continue Pagano's tradition of passing out grit coins?
No. Everything that Chuck did, he did. Now, I didn't do that. But everything that we did after that was 1, 2, 3 Chuck. Mm-hmm. You know, you had 1, 2, 3 win, 1, 2, 3 play hard. Everything was 1, 2, 3 Chuck.
I mean, that was one of the. You won Coach of the Year as the interim head coach, which is the only time it's ever been done. You deal with a team where their coach has cancer, and you somehow get a rookie quarterback into the playoffs. How did you keep it all together? Like, what was the recipe? What was the secret sauce that Bruce Arians had in that situation?
Everybody do your job. It's the first time I ever learned what the word delegate meant. And it's like we had one staff meeting. I said, dude, we don't have a chance. We're doing everything Chuck laid out here. We're not changing schedules. Do your job. Minuski, you coach the defense. Move, you coach the special teams. I'll call the plays and decide if we go for it on fourth down and talk to the team on Saturday night. Everything else is staying the same. Do your job and let's go win.
I love it, and it worked out well for you.
Oh, I learned that I could be a head coach and call plays if I ever got an opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know, and this is what I always wanted to do.
Right.
And lo and behold, I get a job.
So but you kind of skipped ahead of there because you're the AP Coach of the Year, and there's 8 openings, and 7 of them get filled before you get a job, including I think you were close to getting the Chicago Bears job. What happened there with the fake press conference that Mark Trestman did? Did you not do it?
I did it.
Okay.
I thought I did a bang up job because I was me, you know, and I really walked out of the building thinking, all right, they're going to call me in an hour and give me the job, and it was like 2:00 in the morning, and they called me and I don't have the job, and it's like wow. And in
that
the meantime,
nerd got it over me. Yeah.
I had like 5 other interviews that were all canceled. And I said, damn. So my agent's like, God bless him, he passed away, Mike Brown. He said, you got to take this Arizona interview. I said, I'm not going to Arizona. I mean, they're my best friends. We won a Super Bowl together.
Right.
And I'm going to have to fire 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenny's my guy.
Yeah, so it was Ken Wisenhunt's staff, and Ken Wisenhunt gets fired, and his staff's still there, and they want to bring you in for that last 8.
Yeah, we were all
job.
in Pittsburgh together, won the Super Bowl,
Mm-hmm.
and I already had a staff put together to go to Chicago. So it was like, and Brownie kept saying, "You got to do this." So I said, "I'll call Kenny." I called Kenny. He said, "Look, you deserve this. You and Michael get along. We're cool. Just come on out here and take the interview and get the job." And I said, I'm going to fire all those guys. He said, they understand. They know the business. And it was hard, though. I mean, and that's the only reason I took the interview was when Kenny said it was okay.
Yeah, so you finally get a crack at a full-time head coaching job. It's something that you had been, preparing for your whole career. What was one thing about getting that job finally that you weren't ready for, that you didn't know was going to hit you?
Really, I can't say there was anything because we'd been through so many. I've been, 6 different NFL teams and organizations, general managers and owners, and saw how to do it and how not to do it. And so it was kind of easy, and I was 60 years old, and I didn't give a shit. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do it my way. So it's my last job. So I ain't got nobody to worry about to get another job. So if this ain't working, fire me. But I'm going to do it my way.
See, that's interesting because I think that a lot of times, you see, obviously, a guy like Bill Belichick who has such great success. He has total control. He knows that if he goes for it on fourth down in a game, he's not going to lose his job over it. Mm-hmm. Someone like, the Steelers, how they operate, where they keep their coaches forever. Do you think that having that attitude where it's like, I'm going to be me and not let anyone else dictate it? Because I feel like a lot of coaches coach out of a position of fear in the NFL.
Oh, they do. They do. Just fear to keep my job. And how am I going to get another job? To feed my family. And when you get in that position where This is it. This is my last one. And I had a great owner. Michael Bidwell and Steve Kine, my general manager. Awesome guys. You couldn't ask for better guys to work for. And I think to me it added a little bit of swagger to our organization that I was going to do it my way.
Esquire Smooth.
Say what I wanted to say, do it my way, and it kind of rubbed off on the players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. That first season especially, I remember. Now, did you rock the Kangol in Indy, or did you start wearing that in Arizona?
Always wore it in the press conferences in Indy, and I've worn it all my life, even on the streets when I was young.
Yeah.
And
it's a good look.
It's a great look.
And in New York, you had to have a hat when we were young, and Big Apple or something, And so not until Arizona did I wear it on the sideline.
So famous Kangols. Let's do a Marry Fuck Kill. You, Samuel L. Jackson, date Mike from The Office.
Oh gosh, I'm taking mine. I mean,
okay, so marry yours.
And so mine's New Era.
Yeah.
It's an official NFL licensed product, sold in stadiums, in our stadium anyway. And so Kangol gets a lot of credit for me not wearing their hat.
Yeah, that's true. I mean? Okay, so the record has been set. It's not actually Kangol. So
we'll bleep out the K word.
It's down to Samuel L. Jackson and date Mike from The Office. Do you watch The Office or have you looked?
A little bit.
So which one would you take?
I'm taking Samuel. He's got too many good styles.
He's got the swagger.
Yeah. He's got the golf style. He's got the street style, tuxedo style. He got it all.
Yeah, he's big for the Kangol world.
Are you going to keep wearing the Kangol in the booth when you go to CBS?
Yes.
I love it. Yes. How many motherfuckers do they let you say per game at CBS?
None.
You can't even break out one?
No, that's a problem for me.
Is that
are you worried?
Yeah, a little bit. When a guy makes a stupid play and it's you moron motherfucker, what are you thinking? They got that button.
Yes, they have a delay.
So, but I've been really practicing on some new words.
Yeah. I was reading a story. You used to talk shit to the defense in practice. Are you going to miss that? Like, what was your favorite story of talking shit to the defense?
When we were in Pittsburgh, Larry Foote, who I ended up hiring as a coach for me, but we talked more shit during practice. It was fake enthusiasm, just to get through practice. Talk a lot of shit and holler, because the linebacker coach Keith Butler, who's now the defense coordinator, he wanted to talk shit, but he wasn't very good at it. And Foote would get mad because I would out talk him, so Foote would try to back him. And James Ferrier and Rod, all the guys, and Hamp, everybody, it's like, man, B.A., quit picking on butts. And I said, I'm picking on butts, I'm just talking shit on y'all. And but Larry Foote was my guy, and he's going to be a hell of a coach. He'll be a head coach someday.
Yeah, that's cool. So you're going to be at CBS, over under week 2 that you get that itch. And you just, hit Drew Stanton with a 2 a.m. you up text, and you start thinking about getting back on the sidelines.
Never.
Not even a second thought.
No,
not one.
No, I'm done. I mean, I feel so comfortable with the decision, and I'm so happy that I have the opportunity to get into broadcasting and stay in the game, see the guys, see the coaches in the production meetings, and but I'm not missing it at all.
Yeah. So, all right. So we have this branded question, the Lisa question for Grit Week. You can go to Lisa and put in the promo code Grit Week. You get $60 off. It's a mattress company. So the question for the Lisa question is, do you dream about football?
I still dream up plays.
Okay.
Yeah. There'll be times. It's funny because I went over to the University of Alabama and played in their golf tournament. And the year I was the offensive coordinator, I was dreaming up plays that last night in the hotel of what I should have called or would have called or did call back then in 1997. It was crazy.
So you dreaming of play? Who's your quarterback?
At that time, it was John David Phillips or Andrew Zhao was a freshman. And
but what about now? Like, you dream, if tonight you go to sleep and you dream about a play, who's playing quarterback in Bruce Arians' offense?
It all depends on the color of the team.
Yeah.
It could be Timmy Couch. It could be Kelly Holcomb.
So it's no offense, but that's kind of a sad thing to say you dream
it's Technicolor,
about.
Man, it's all Technicolor. You can't
Timmy
go black
Couch
and white.
Being your quarterback.
You can't do pick. Oh, Timmy won a lot of games with me, brother.
Yeah. Who's the worst quarterback that you dream about running your offense?
Me.
Well, better than Michael Vick.
Yeah.
Do you have nightmares about fullback dives?
We never had a fullback.
I know that's. I have a bone to pick with you about that because I think that having a fullback in your offense can teach you a lot about not having high expectations.
This is a standoff.
Oh yeah, of course. There's no expectations you're gonna give it to a fullback.
Right. You get 2.3 yards per carry, and you do that every single down. Spot the flaw in my offense.
You punt every time you have the ball.
Wait,
but you control the clock.
The clock don't mean shit. People that talk about it's production time.
Right.
All right. What do you do when you have it? All right. We want to score a point per minute of possession. Possession time, nothing. You get no points for possession time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your defense is sitting over here. Well, if you ain't scoring, you lose 6-0 or 6-3. All right. If you're scoring a point per minute and you only have it 28 minutes, 28 is hard to beat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So play defense.
I mean, the only flaw in my offense is that you don't score points. But besides that, it's a pretty good offense.
That's a problem.
But wait, tell him why. So he loves fullbacks. He's the biggest fullback fan of anyone in the nation.
Well, if you can't cover kicks, all right. If you can't be a legitimate special teams player, there are only so many plays you got with a fullback in the game because you're running against 9-man boxes. But as soon as he runs off the sideline, here the safeties come down. All right. Now, yeah, you do still get one-on-one outside, but it's hard to run the football with a fullback in the game.
I know. There's some limitations to my offense.
This is tough for him.
Maybe that's why I never got that job coaching in the NFL.
Yeah, this is tough. This is a big moment.
Find a tight end that could play fullback.
There you go, an H-back. What about an H-back? We'll compromise.
That's what I've always had.
There you go, meet in the middle.
Now, they don't know if we're going to be two tight ends, I formation, spread out, especially if the guy's a pass receiver, but he can block.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got the dream guy.
Did you ever think about making Logan Thomas a tight end?
Yeah, when we drafted him, but he refused. And I wanted him to fail at quarterback first. And he failed at quarterback like 3 times before he's a tight end. But I hope he makes it because he's such a great kid.
Yeah, he's a crazy good athlete, too.
Yeah. Do you think a football guy, so when we talk football guys, you are a football guy, but you don't sleep in your office. You were notorious for, I'm going home at a reasonable hour. Mm-hmm. Do you think that takes away any of your football guy credit?
No, I wouldn't. I would hope not. I mean, my wife and I had date night every Thursday night for 15 years. If you're sleeping in your office, you either have no offense or no defense because you're stealing somebody else's. You're watching all the film to steal somebody else's plays because you ain't got no plays.
I like that.
That's a good way to put it.
If you got an offense, run your offense.
Uh-huh.
All right? It's good enough to change it up to where they don't know what you're going to do this week, but it's the same plays. Oh, coach, you see this play those guys ran? Yeah, that's a good play. Do our guys know the techniques how to block that play? Have we ever practiced those techniques to block that play?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to teach them in 3 reps on Tuesday or on Wednesday how to block that play. And what if they change looks? Okay, coach, we got something real close to it. Let's run our shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, just run our shit. We'll be fine.
I like that attitude a lot. It's like if you spend that much time stealing somebody else's, then you're a chump.
It's perfect, too, because it's from the drinking paint, jumping off a house and pretending you're Superman, to the day you get a head coaching job. Bruce Arians basically said, I'm going to do it exactly my way, and eventually it will work out.
Hopefully.
But was there ever a moment where you're like, it's never going to work out?
Yeah. I mean, there were years when, it's like we win Super Bowl 43, and you don't even get an interview. You don't even get a call for an interview to be a head coach. It's like, I guess we're never going to be one.
Did you ever think like maybe I should change my strategy? Maybe don't say motherfucker like in the second line of the interview.
Never. If you don't want me, I don't want you.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I mean, this is now I want you to coach me.
There you go.
Because of that, you just negged me into this. Yeah.
If you'd never coached down a football, what would you be doing right now, or what would you have done for the last 40 years?
Well, I studied to be a guidance counselor, and but I always wanted to coach. took a junior high coaching job interview my senior year in college. Had I gotten it, I would have quit school.
I feel like you would have been an interesting guidance counselor. Just been like, you know what? Do whatever you want.
Yeah,
Say fuck you to your boss.
Quit being a bitch and go get what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's Bruce Arians' guidance counseling.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple.
I love it.
My guy told my guys, my door's always open. You're probably not going to like what you hear when you get in there, but I'm going to tell you the fucking truth.
Yeah, it's always open. That's perfect. You got anything else?
I think we're good.
Yeah, I mean, this has been so much fun. Thank you. You got a golf outing coming up.
Yeah.
So
July 8th and 9th
Okay.
at the Ritz-Carlton here at Reynolds Lake Oconee, not Plantation anymore, Reynolds Lake Oconee. And there are foursomes open, and it is a great time. We think Kane Brown's coming in to sing. And we always have a big concert and have a big party the night before.
What's the best you've shot?
70 is my best number ever.
Okay.
That was a few years back.
Yeah. What are you shooting right now?
I'm a 9 handicap now. I shot 78 the other day, so it's starting to come back. Rotator cuff surgery kicked my ass last year.
Yeah.
That'll do it. There's one other thing I wanted to jump into. So we had Coach O from LSU on the show on Monday, and now we've got you. I think you guys have like the two most football voices of all time for very different reasons. Coach O, he's got that Cajun, that low growl. Hey, let's Coach O, welcome to Great Week. And you have what I call a non-denominational voice.
Yeah, I'm a Southern Fried Yankee.
Yeah. I was going to ask you how you would describe it.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
perfect.
Southern Fried Yankee all the way, brother.
Okay.
I came down from Pennsylvania, went to Virginia Tech, had some grits and some red-eye gravy. Said, "What the fuck is this?" It's pretty good.
I mean, you basically your dialect is football.
Oh, that's it.
You speak locker room.
Yeah.
You're fluent in locker room.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm eclectic.
Yes, absolutely. All right, Coach. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us over. This was so much fun.
Hey, punch that punter for me, will you? Please?
Yes, absolutely.
I'll give him a
You
little
know what?
sack
That's the
tap.
deal. I'm going to tell him.
Oh,
I'm going
please.
to tell him it was you, though.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He knows.
All right. Done.
He knows.